3 bachelors, but no gender sense. Like 3 characters on the right side.
A little bit.
And then there's like a line between them. So you gotta split your character.
Hello.
Oh, that works. Can I get started then? Hello. Hi. I'm going to take that out, I think. I'm going to stand up and talk. Just for everyone's purposes, I am streaming this. It's only my beautiful face. My chat can see it, so that this is my very first panel, so I'm like a baby when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I wanted my chat to be able to watch this because not everyone here is on the East Coast. I have some people who are like across the world. My name is Rainerfalls, or Rainstar, and I'm a VTuber, and I wanted to talk about my experiences being a VTuber and the differences that a lot of VTubers face with reality of streaming, because a lot of streamers are face cam streamers, like the biggest streamers you see out there. And then there are streamers like Iron Mouse who literally cannot stream with a camera. So I wanted to show the differences between that and the harsh reality a lot of smaller creators face, and also my experiences. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, what is a VTuber? I don't have a presentation, like I said, it's my very first thing, but a VTuber is a 2D model that people put onto a screen, essentially, and they use it to talk. It's similar to puppeteering, but completely on a stream. And so basically they just use a camera or their phone, and there's just a lot of different things that they do, and they puppet it. And then there's also PNG tubers, which other people consider VTubers. And then there are just people who don't use anything at all, and they're not a VTuber. And there's the difference of a webcam streamer. A webcam streamer is somebody who uses a webcam and they show their face. I'm one of the unique VTubers who kind of shows my face on occasion, but other times I don't. I'm very comfortable in my own skin doing that, but a lot of VTubers, for their own privacy and safety, will just completely go, you can't see my face. They won't even post their face. And if they do show up to a convention, they usually have a big screen and you can talk to them, but you can't actually see their face. And that's because a lot of them face harassment and other really horrible things that happen to them. So it's a key thing that a lot of VTubers do is they hide their personas. I do not, because I'm very comfortable and want to be a voice actor. A lot of other VTubers that do that are Alejandro Saab or Sayu VTuber or Amelie. Both of them show their faces when they go to conventions, but they are comfortable doing that because they became popular before they became VTubers. So that is something that a lot of VTubers do. I personally just like showing my face because it's really fun. Others don't. And let's talk about, I guess, the discourse between VTubing. A lot of people will go onto Twitter and be like, that's a lot of drama. And trust me, we know. Unfortunately, drama is just, please take a seat anywhere. I promise I don't bite. Drama is a big thing in a sphere and in this day and age with technology because you're able to just hide your face. No one knows who you are, so you can just go online and say really mean things and think there's no consequences, when in reality there are consequences. A lot of you might have heard of the Cinder VTuber drama. So I tend to try to stay out of that kind of stuff, but I wanted to talk about that here because just because you're anonymous does not mean you are not liable for your actions as a content creator. You and your community, you're responsible for how your community reacts to certain things. So as a VTuber, it is really, really hard to control that because you're hiding your identity, but then you also have to go out and be like, guys, you can't do that. So that's a big thing that I like talking about when it comes to content creation because a lot of people don't realize just because you're hiding your face doesn't mean you're not liable. So moving on with my experiences as a VTuber, I started out really, really small. I started with a PNG tuber. That's just a little guy who bounced up and down. Ever see Discord reactive images, anybody? I mean, I love doing that with my friends. A lot of the times I'll actually use that if I'm too tired to use my model. And so that was in 2020, God, I feel old saying that, during COVID. How many people here, raise their hand, tried something new during COVID and was just like, yes, I needed to try that. Streaming was my thing, and it got into the Undertale fandom, please help me. I did a lot of comic dubs. That's what I like to do. And then I stopped for a bit because I went to college, and then I got back into streaming full-time, and now it's what I do on the side of being a teacher. That's my other job. I'm weird like that, I guess. So VTubing is something that I did, not because I wanted to hide my face, but because I wanted to be a sexy, hot, fey dragon man, because I can't do that IRL. I wish I could.
You'll get the costume soon.
I will get the costume soon. It's very hard to cosplay my VTuber. He has 3,000 layers. So I want to talk about my experience now with the harsh reality of being a content creator, especially in the VTubing sphere, because of how saturated it is. So the saturation grew during COVID because everyone was like, I want to try streaming because you're all stuck at home. You got computers, you got the internet at your fingertips. Why not? So everyone started buying, and I'm going to tell you right now, some models cost upwards of $15,000. I did not spend that much on my model, but a lot of models will cost you that much. And they started splurging. And they started buying all these models. And then they realized, I don't want to stream, I don't want to be a VTuber, and then just left it at that. You just spent $15,000 on a piece of artwork and then just quit after 3 months because you didn't blow up. And that is the harsh reality of streaming and content creation, especially in the VTubing sphere. People just give up because they want to be like Iron Mouse or Shy Lily, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the harsh reality is you're not going to be like that. I've been streaming for 5 years now. I average about 30 viewers on occasion. I get 50 views on my YouTube shorts, guys. It's okay. Please come in, sit down. I don't bite unless you ask nicely. So when it comes to that harsh reality of streaming, that you can't stream, right, without, you get 1 or 2 viewers. And I want to point out something. Ludwig, I believe it was, recently decided to open up a separate Twitch account. And he was like, okay, I'm going to stream to, I don't know, my whole audience, right? He's got, what, thousands of viewers in his chat? He streamed for 5 hours and got 1 viewer. Brand new account. He even put giveaway in his title. That was the harsh reality he needed to realize that streaming isn't easy. And it's not something that you can just immediately jump into. Back to VTubing, though. VTubing is a lot more difficult than sometimes webcam streamers, but also could be easier. Because you're just hiding your face. You get to dance around on stream. Amount of times I walk out of my room and just chat doesn't know it because my model's just on screen. I'm like, chat, I'll be right back. Spend 5 minutes petting my cat in the corner because I can. I love being a VTuber because I get to hide my face, but also I get to express emotions and things like that. So I'm going to move on to a more harsher topic of the harassment that goes on in the VTuber sphere, especially with female characters. And male characters will be next, because I am a male-presenting VTuber, but I'm also non-binary. Female characters get harassed on a daily basis, and that is the harsh reality we live in, because they have big boobs. I wish that was not a joke. You can laugh, it's funny. But basically, they get all these weird DMs, like, why are you doing this to a VTuber? And that is the very harsh reality of, I live in a world where I could get a DM any day saying, you look hot, but you don't actually know what I look like, right? That VTuber doesn't show her face. And she's stuck being told that she looks pretty. Yeah, that's great, but then she gets harassed daily because some guy wants to get in her pants. And that's the sad reality of why most VTubers actually hide their faces. And then if they do a face reveal, they get harassed for that too, because how dare you show your face? And we're now in a day and age where we're on a kind of a scale. Sometimes if you're a bigger VTuber and you show your face, it's great, you look cool. But if you're not what they expected, oh my god, yeah, you don't look great. And it's really frustrating because I showed my face for the first time before I started transitioning about 2 years ago. And I said, hey Jack, this is my face. I got a lot of really nasty comments. They're like, you're not a man? Yeah, I don't have a beard yet, okay? Calm down, it's not growing. I'm very self-conscious. Now I have somewhat of a beard, and I've been transitioning for 2 years. For those who don't know, I'm trans. Haha, funny. Thank you. But I got a lot of different comments when I posted my face more recently. Like, hi, this is me. And they're like, oh, you're a man now. What do you mean now? There was no difference. My face just has facial hair. And a lot of harsh comments I'll also get is, you're really small, and you have only 30 viewers. And why do you have 30 viewers with 10,000 subs on YouTube? I don't know. I don't know. That's the reality of this. So now I've also been invited to a couple of other events and stuff where they're like, hey, do you want to go do something at this convention? So recently, thanks to Atasha Coffee, I went to, I don't remember what convention it was. It's been 3 months or whatever time frame it was, and I was on their screen. I had one person visit, and he visited every other VTuber. And I was okay with that because I had one person who took time out of their day to tell me, hey, I really like your model. You look really pretty. And that made me feel really nice. And that's the next topic of being a male VTuber in the VTubing sphere, or male presenting. we don't get a lot of love, guys. We don't. Unfortunately, for female VTubers, they got the big boobas and they are really popular. They get popular because they have really high-pitched feminine voices and it's the anime girl. There's nothing wrong with that. They're also the tomboy girls and all that other fun stuff, but I get constantly told, why don't you just have a female presenting model? I don't want one. I want to be sexy dragon man. That's all I want. And it's extremely frustrating because a lot of people just tell me what I should or shouldn't do with my model. Like, oh, can you do this with your model? No, it's my choice, not yours. Did you pay for it? Do you want to dish out the money I paid for my model? I was very lucky. My model, Mama, I won the raffle to get a VTuber, but I've added more money on as months have gone by. Added more features like wings and tails and all that other fun stuff because I really like wings and tails. But a lot of people just assume that they can go into your chat because you're a VTuber and tell you what to do, how to play the game, or what you should do because your face isn't there. And then I switch my camera on and go, hi. Stop. I don't do that often, but a lot of people think that we're just not a person, that we're an AI. We're not an AI. I'm just as weird online as I am in person. They can clarify that. I'm really bad. So let's also move on to a topic that I didn't think I was going to discuss at first. Actually, I really want to cover. There's some VTubers who actually are male in real life. They're not trans. They are just a guy, and they use a female presenting model. And that's because they like the idea of a female presenting model. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they get a lot of hate for it because they're deceiving their audience. Oh my God. And then they speak like, hey, into their microphone. It's like, how is that deceiving? They've like posted multiple times. I actually follow them a lot and I really like their content. They've posted so many times. Please come in. I promise I don't bite. They've posted so many times like, yeah, I'm a guy in a girl's model. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the harsh reality is, again, on social media, people attack them just because they want to look a little different. But how is that any different from a cosplayer who wants to dress up as the opposite gender? It's not. It's just online. As an anime girl, I guess. And that's another thing that also, now I'm going to merge into that topic. I'm very good at merging into topics today. VTubing originally was, I think, it came from Asia and Japan and all that, and it was just, mostly based off of anime girls. And then male VTubers started entering the scene. And that is where it started becoming a problem, because how dare a man enter the scene of anime girls? And in reality, it was actually some of the biggest moneymakers. If you look at Genshin Impact, please release more men. Like, the men sell a lot better than the women do on occasion because they don't release them often enough. Same goes for some of the male VTubers. Their merchandise and all that do a lot better statistically because they're men. Because there are a lot more women and gay men in the world than just straight men, unfortunately. I'm one of them. I like my men, and I like my women, so I'll buy all sorts of merchandise. But
you can't be seen.
it's fine. It's fine. They can see me. They see the wall. Oh no. I'm just gonna step back then. For those who just came in, I am live streaming this on my Twitch channel just so that I have the memory. This is my very first panel, so I'm just really trying my best to entertain you guys and talk about my experiences and the harsh reality of VTubing. So I'm gonna move on to cosplayers and VTubers who also cosplay now, because VTubers who cosplay are really hot and awesome, and I really want to be one of them because that's really, really cool. But they get a lot of hate because how dare you cosplay this character incorrectly? Oh my God. So a lot of them will cosplay their own VTubers. I've seen it happen quite frequently, and if they don't get one thing right on their model, they get a lot of hate on the internet. Oh my God, this one strap is pink, 2 shades different than it's crazy.
It's my model.
Exactly. So I've had a lot of people ask, when are you going to cosplay my model? They have been graciously helping me work on it, and I've just been really sick, and then I also had to work 2 jobs, so I haven't had time to cosplay my model. But my model is incredibly complex and has a tail and wings and horns and pointed ears, and there's a lot to go through. But I made that model myself, and I hate that other VTubers get hate just because they want to cosplay something and then they don't do it right. That is my one pet peeve. So now I'm going to move on to a little bit of a harsher topic of sponsorships. Ooh. The amount of times I get an email from a company, it's like, hey, do you want to play our game? And I'm like, yeah, here's my rates. Oh, we can't pay you. Honey, I'm not doing it for free anymore. I'm a broke bitch. I have no money. The economy is in shambles. I need money. that happens a lot to other VTubers, especially even with my size, and I've talked about my numbers a little bit. I get around 40 viewers. I have 40 viewers right now. Those are real people. And I'm like, those are real people watching. That's 40 people. It's a room full of people who decided to stop their day and go, hi, Rainer. I want to watch your stream. It sounds weirder when I say it that way. But they'll take advantage of you. They'll be like, hey, so you're smaller. You have less than 5,000 followers. I want you to not get any money for this and spend 6 hours every day doing this. I'm like, I need money. So I've turned down several sponsorship opportunities or opportunities where they try to get you or like, we'll pay you, but you have to have your people buy our game. And I'm like, no, because I don't have the time to do that. Now, I will accept free game keys on occasion. I wish they got one for a VR game, the Scully game, where he's like a skull and you like throw him around. And I don't know, it seemed really fun. I was like, I don't have a VR headset, can I still play this? They're like, yeah, it's on Steam now. I'm like, poggers, I'm gonna go play this later. It's now on my computer and I haven't touched it in a few days because I've been working, but I'm gonna play it. And I like that because they know that they don't have the money and they're indie developers, but they reach out and say, hey, we know that we don't have the money to pay you, but if you want to play our game, here's a free Steam gift like code. They're really nice about that, and I like indie devs better than big devs because they don't really care about us. So I will also talk about the scam sponsorships. I've gotten so many of those emails. They're like, hey, we'll give you $5,000 a stream. That's more than I make in 3 months. And I get paid $23 an hour. So what do you mean? And those, you can tell they're fake because it's the same email 5 times in a row where they're begging you to sign this weird contract. And you're like, I know this is fake now. And that's one thing that happens more often than not to any streamer, not just VTubers. Mostly they target the VTubers because when you make a brand as a VTuber, right, everything is labeled Rainer, everything is Rainer. I use an alias, I don't use my real name. I don't use my real name anywhere, and even on my voiceover page, it's Rainstar. Only my closest friends and my editors who get my money, because I pay my editors and my artists, know my real name. They think that they can scam VTubers because they don't have their real name anywhere. So they're like, oh, you can't sue me because you're not real. Wrong. My brand is now my identity. I can copyright claim that bitch. So technically, Rainerfalls is copyrighted. If I really wanted to trademark it, I could. That is just up to me, though. I just want to make sure I'm not running out of time. Okay, I'm not running out of time. I promise. I like to yap. Thank you. I'm really bad with time management. I'm going to move on to that topic in a second. But when I finish up with this one thing, scammers are the worst. Don't listen to them. They're bad. So time management in VTubing is something that's a little different because IRL streamers, they pop in, they have a camera, they have to actually focus on their emotions. They can't make weird faces. If they do, oh my god, you get judged. But as a VTuber, I don't have to worry about that because if I'm using my PNG tuber, they can't see my disgusting face. When someone comes into my chat and is like, do you want dick pics? No. No, I don't. On purpose, I will turn on my camera on occasion just to give them a really ugly look. But typically, I will not have a lot of model expression because my character has a mask. So he just kind of exists. And going back to the puppeteering thing, because we have to move around a lot, I get a lot of really good calories in. Like, I burn so many calories just moving around my room as my model. Especially if I do my 3D model, which I haven't done on stream, but I've practiced with it, and I was like dancing in my room like this. I was like, this is a really good workout. I should try this more often. But puppeteering is something I discussed a little bit earlier on. I wanted to swing back to this. Puppeteering is something that a lot of people don't realize. Like streamers like Iron Mouse she has medical health issues that make it hard for her to appear in public, so she usually appears on a little cute monitor. I wish I could meet her, she's like my idol. But they have to puppeteer a little differently. So I've actually looked into some accessibility things for people who have issues. I have hand issues. I can't move my fingers like I used to. I almost got tetanus working a previous job of mine. Thank you, Pond Company, who gave me tetanus, basically. So I have to move around a little bit differently because it hurts my body otherwise, and I'm in a lot of pain all day, and then I go to bed and I'm in more pain because laying down hurts more. Raise your hand if laying down hurts more to some days. Yes, you get it. It hurts. So there are accessibility things, like for example, you don't have to use your phone. You can use an actual webcam these days, and it's fantastic. The amount of things that exist now, because 5 years ago, that didn't exist. And when I was aching and sore, from my arthritis like an old man, I couldn't really it wasn't accessible. So the accessibility has changed in the last few years for VTubing, especially when it comes to the cameras. So a lot of people use their phones on a little stand. I don't use my phone. I use a camera that I got for free from my college roommate who dropped out. They just left it there, and I was like, hey, do you want this? And they're like, no. I'm like, this is a $250 camera. I don't care. Okay, I'll take a free $250 camera, which I still use to this day 5 years later. Free stuff. Slightly off topic, if you ever go to a college campus after like their winter break or their spring break, they'll have all the free shit that they're throwing out. Like, I'm talking full-on mini fridges for free, so you know, just a heads up. I used to do that at my college all the time. Go to the rich kid schools. They'll give you like 1 million hangers for free because nobody wants their hangers. Just completely off topic tidbit. Now I'm going to go back to something I mentioned earlier, which was Iron Mouse and her desire to remain completely, obviously, faceless. There are other streamers who do show their faces, like Shy Lily will come in and they'll wear masks. Although some people have tried to obviously take the mask off with AI or Photoshop. Please don't do that. That's really weird and invasive. I'm completely different. You can see my whole face, my glorious, beautiful face in person. They're different because they have medical reasons or privacy reasons. So I'm gonna go back to something that happened to one of my talents that I used to manage. And I'm not gonna mention names because it's private. But she got doxxed, and none of my current talents. I manage a lot of talents. I have a VTuber group called Project Tsunami, and I have a lot of VTubers in it. This is not about any of them, just to clarify that. This was a talent I managed about 3 years ago, and I gave them some advice on how to make their Twitch page look prettier, and that was about it. They paid me $50. Thank you to that random person. But that being said, she got doxxed. Her whole stream was a bunch of people who made bots with her full name, her address, and just kept going. So even after she ended the stream, they were just flooding the chat. And this was before Twitch implemented a feature called Shield Mode. Shield Mode is very important to streamers like myself and other streamers who don't really want their face out there. 'Cause a lot of people use their first names, other streamers. Like Point Crow, for an example. We all know his first name. I used to watch Point Crow. I don't watch him anymore. I probably should get back into him. Other streamers like Alejandro Sab or Sayu VTuber, we all know their first names because they have a presence outside of their VTuber. But people like me, I don't want you knowing my first name. That's weird. And also because if I apply for a job to be a teacher and they look up my name and they're like, why are you cursing like a drunken sailor or telling me that Vecna's from Dead by Daylight looks like he's fuckable? I've said that at least once on stream. Hey, I said this was 16 plus.
You did.
I can curse. I'm allowed to. If you're uncomfortable, you can leave though. I apologize. I curse like a drunken sailor. But basically, that reality of she was doxxed, and she didn't know how to deal with it. Because 3 years ago, we didn't have any safety features for VTubers. Nobody cared if we got doxxed. Nobody cared if we were like harmed. Because, oh, you're just an AI-generated model on screen. They thought we were fake. They thought that it was just a character. Now there is, and I'll get to this in a little bit, I'm just gonna mention, there is an AI VTuber, but that's a different story, and I'm gonna talk about that and how that affects VTubers. But basically, I had to help her run through banning every account individually, because there was no way to ban back then. There are things like Frosty Tools now, Seribot, all of these amazing things that came out like 2 years ago, but 4 years ago, there was nothing. So we were all in danger of being doxxed and hurt, and that's a reality that a lot of YouTubers have to face. So that was something that was scary to me because I had been doxxed before. One of my college friends ended up hearing me through my door because they had knocked on my door and told their friends, hey, Rainer streams, let's go be little, piss babies and go into his chat and start typing about our college. I didn't see it because I was in the middle of a Dead by Daylight match and my friends were like, dude, you're getting doxxed. I'm like, oh. Afterwards, I banned them from my chat and I was just like, that wasn't cool. You guys shouldn't do that. Do you realize how dangerous that is for me? Just because I have 5 viewers in my chat at the time, because that was like 3 years ago, doesn't mean it's not dangerous, because then someone can go back in that VOD and figure out where I live. Someone can go back in my VOD and figure out that this is where I live. This is my family. I have family and friends. Other VTubers have family and friends who also don't want to be on social media. I have a twin. She doesn't want to be on social media. Anytime I'm streaming, I tell my roommates, hey guys, I'm streaming. If you come downstairs, I might have my camera on. It's not because I'm filming you, it's because I have my model on. I'll let you know if I have my camera on. Because there have been streams where I've had my camera on my floor, so I was dyeing rags for a cosplay. But now, let's move on from that part to AI VTubers, because they do exist. Norosema AI is a VTuber, completely run by AI. Obviously, some guy programmed her and stuff like that, but like, she's just a full AI VTuber. You go into her chat, she's just fully AI. And he originally used the base model. If you ever open up VTube Studio for the first time, there's like a base model there that's just like cute little anime girl, because they give you like 4 base models: a cat, a girl, and 1 gender neutral option, I think. Whichever. A frog? Okay, cool. That being said, she started saying some really not great things, like racist things, and denying the Holocaust. Obviously, that was because the people in the chat were douchebags and decided to trigger that on purpose to get the AI in trouble, I believe. If I'm wrong, someone can correct me on that later. But that set a precedent of, should we allow AI in VTubing? Because we already get told we're AI enough. Like, do I look like a robot to you? I wish, because that would be cool. Cyborgs are cool. But basically, that set a precedent of what should we allow in the sphere, and is the person who created this AI liable for that? So Twitch had to have like a whole conversation with the owner of Neurosama and be like, you have to program her to not say things like that. He did get banned for, I think it was a week, and then he rewrote the programming, and he said that the people who did that, I believe, were banned for the community. I hope they were, because that's not really a nice thing to do. And then she came back and she was just as good as before. If not better, because he programmed her to not be racist, and that's great. Obviously, it's not her fault, because when you write an AI code, you can't obviously account for everything, and you can't account for human nature, because we are chaotic beings who say a lot of random things on the internet. So that was a big thing for him. He was like, hey, I didn't want her to say this, but they triggered her to say it because they asked her questions, and an AI can only do so much. So it leaves the question of, should we continue to allow AI in the community, or even just streaming in general, or should we shut it down? Well, she's been going for, I think, 2 or 3 years now. She still is going. I personally don't watch her. She's not my cup of tea. I like real people. But there's nothing wrong with it, and those who like her. The artist did actually fully commission a real model of her from a real artist, nothing AI generated, which is really nice, because fuck AI, support AI artists, pardon my French. I despise AI art. And I'm going to get into that in a bit, because that is a huge problem in the VTubing scene, and there's different types of AI that we should and shouldn't allow. So yeah, I think it should be allowed with restrictions. It's a big problem that people think VTubers are AI when they aren't. But I think that Neurosama should be allowed to do what she does if she follows the TOS just like everyone else. But everyone else can have their different opinions. I just think it was really cool that he took it with stride, and instead of making, a worse situation out of it, he actively programmed her and made her responsible for her actions. And now she does collaborations with bigger VTubers all the time, and it's pretty cool. So moving on to AI art, and you can sit down, please come closer. I promise I don't bite. Unless you pay me, then I'll bite. So now moving on to AI art in the VTubing experience. Big problem. Stop using it. VGen, I'm gonna spell it out. VGEN. Best website on the face of the planet. I love VGen. The amount of artists I get on there to commission my wacky things. Hey, I want you to draw my OC doing this. Okay, it's not inappropriate, just please draw my OC that I love that no one else loves. Or can you draw this one character that no one else has heard of because nobody likes it except for me and it's my hyperfixation? You understand. Nobody else knows about Sherbet Cookie from Cookie Run Kingdom except for me. I'm that one weirdo who likes him. Shadow Milk everyone likes. I like Sherbet. There's a difference. He's my frosty baby. But, so a lot of VTubers will, because they can't afford it, or they can't pick up a pencil. I'm gonna say this now. Can't pick up, I am literally disabled medically and cannot physically draw. I still draw. I do my own work, or I hire someone to do it for me, because I have money now. I work a job. I'm a teacher, a teacher assistant. I make some money. I also work at a haunted house. Boo, I scared you. But also I get some money from streaming, not a lot, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit afterwards. But basically, and for those who just walked in, just an FYI, I'm streaming this. This is on my twitch.tv/Rainerfalls. If you wanna follow me, that would be cool. But yeah, you're not on it, it's just my beautiful face. I didn't want anyone to be uncomfortable, and I really wanted to savor the moment. This is my first panel. But yeah, so a lot of VTubers, let me just generate this image of an AI girl. We all can tell it looks really bad. Do I need to deep throat the mic to tell you how bad it looks? It's bad. So I personally genuinely hate AI art that steals from other artists. I'm not against AI in general, I'm against generative AI because it uses so much water just to have the server processes. Anybody who lives in Silicon Valley or knows where Silicon Valley is, they have no water right now because of how much the AI is taking just to keep their servers cool. Because they can't use anything else. So meta AI is essentially destroying the planet 10 times faster than it already was being destroyed. So I'm against it for the environmental concern as well. What I do like about AI, and there's a difference, AI is very cool when you can use it to help you check your work or to help you with coding, not to finish your code, but to check it for errors. Because how many times have I taken a coding class in college and there's been one comma missing and it drives me insane for about 12 hours and I want to rip my hair out of my skull.
Yeah.
You understand my pain. You're like, where is it? And then the AI can point it out for you and save you hours of work so you can get back on with your project. What I don't approve of is AI like ChatGPT writing your essays for you and then you handing it in to me going, Mr. Starr, I have my essay. And then literally I can tell you it wrote by AI because you're in 6th grade, you don't know what the word spectacular means. Or precedent. I promise you, you don't know what that means. It's not a good sign. So back to VTubers, they will use it to write their tweets for them. They will use it to make their posts for them. They'll use it to put their faces. And it's like, dude, I can tell that it's AI and it doesn't look good, and companies are not going to want to work with you if you are using generative AI because they want someone who's natural. Especially in certain companies, indie companies especially. I love working with indie companies. The amount of indie game people that approach me and like, hey, do you want to play our game? And they just give me a free game code and I play it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, this is the best game ever. What do you mean you're like a team of 2 men in a trench coat? Team Cherry with Silk Song. We love Team Cherry. But the AI just looks really, really bad, and it's not a good look. So I highly don't recommend it. Now there is other AI I'm going to talk about now that is really, really good. Seribot. Seribot, my beloved. If you don't know what that is and you're not a streamer, it is an AI that basically protects you from spam bots. The ones that go into your chat and be like, your chat's a dead zone or whatever they say. Buy new followers here. No, I will earn them myself. I will kidnap them and put them in my closet. My editor's already in the basement. She's fine with it. She doesn't get let out when I do let her out. It's because I want to play games with her. I love my editor, by the way. She does all this amazing work and deals with my Cookie Run Kingdom hyperfixations daily. So I'm going to get into the aspect of editing in a little bit. But yeah, so AI isn't cool. Other things like FrostyBot or Frosty Tools, I think it's called. I can't remember the exact name. That one was great because I got follow-botted for 9,000 followers. I could not pick out who was real or not. And I just typed into the Frosty thing and it did it for me. All of it. I didn't have to lift a finger. That is a great tool because normally I'd have to go through the list manually, every single one of them, which is just like the same username with like a different digit, and figure out which one was actually the real person, the original account, and then who's the bots that they copied the account from. That has happened once or twice where I've been follow-botted or follow-rated live, and I just have to like click on the right person, and if I ban them by accident, they typically put in an unbanned request, like, hey, I think you banned me by accident. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was follow-botted. So now moving on to other things about AI, though. So one thing I will point out is that I use AI on a daily basis. You use AI on a daily basis. How many of you go, hi Siri, what's the weather today? I'm glad she didn't set off when I said that. That's AI, right there. So it's a really key point that you use that AI every day, and it's a good thing. But some of these VTubers are using it now to essentially hunt other people. I love your coat, it's so cute. Sorry, I get really distracted. I have ADHD, so if someone moves, I go, ooh, shiny. The amount of times that has happened during a stream where my cat moves to my peripheral vision, I go, what are you doing? And I stand there for a good 30 seconds. Or I'll say something and I go, so I was gonna say, and then I won't finish that sentence, and then my chat's like, Rainer, what were you going to say? I don't. Exactly. So that's, I want to talk about mental health and be doing that. I have so many mental health issues, but I'm a competent human being somewhat because my parents raised me right, sort of. I love my dad. He wasn't the best dad, but he did his best, and he was dealing with 2 crazy psychos of ex-wives. One of them still stalks me to this day. Lovely lady. So I deal with PTSD. I've been to a psychiatrist since I was 12 years old, real tight. And the first psychiatrist I ever went to, and Subi Slighty, I got so nervous I peed my pants. I was like, she's gonna put me in a straitjacket. I was like 12. People don't realize what a toll mental health can take when you stream. Because you can sit there for hours and play a video game by yourself, but to entertain a chat, ugh, some of you are so annoying and needy. No, I'm kidding. I love entertaining my chat. My chat is always really, really funny. They come in with like goofy little jokes. I have this one audio that's like driving in my car right after a beat. Yeah, that's one person comes into my chat every single day, and that's her intro. Nervy, I'm talking about you. I know you're watching. I saw you earlier. That's her only intro. And when I'm on OBS, I'm like, oh, Nervy's here. Hi, Nervy. Do you want to play with me? Because I play with her. Let's get into parasocial relationships. It's so much worse than you think. The amount of people who think, yeah, okay, you're just a guy on the screen. You're not really a real person behind the screen. I could just friend you and be really, really weird in DMs and no one's going to care. I care, and I know who you are, and I will find you. I won't actually find you. That's just really weird, and I'll ban you, I'll block you. Like, if you're really parasocial, I've had a lot of really, really weird parasocial people show up in my chat quite frequently. And they're like, let's be best friends. I'm like, I've known you for 2 seconds. 99% of those parasocial people, unfortunately, are called an art bot. And they show up and go, commission me. No, I don't want to commission you. I'm broke. If I want to commission you, I'll find you on VGen. And I know you're not a real artist because I've been scammed by them before. A lot of them will show up in your chat. And they'll be really, really nice at first, these parasocial people. They're like, they're super chill. They come to every stream. They're in your community. They're all up your butt. They're like, hey, I want to be your friend. I want to play with you. And you think, great. You know, especially smaller streamers. Like, even though people consider me a medium-sized streamer, and I'm kind of shocked, but 40 people is still 40 people. People come into your chat and they're like, and then you realize that one person is like, you know, you think it's your one and only ticket to just having a friend in the community. And then they start getting weird. Like, hey, do you want to like maybe do some weird things? And like, they get really, really weird and really parasocial, and they get right up in your business, and they just start talking to you in a very inappropriate, flirtatious way. And as an asexual, I don't appreciate that. It's weird. I love your cosplay. You look amazing, by the way. All of you look amazing, by the way. I just want to say that. Like, everyone here is like really, really cute, and I'm just like, that's so cool that you all came here and took time out of your day to listen to me ramble about VTubers. So yeah, but parasocialism is something that just has increased after the pandemic. I've noticed because I was on social media before the pandemic. Like, I was 16. The only thing I used was Discord to play D&D with my friends. We would sit on a voice call for 7 hours a day because we were nerds. Because our high school didn't want to support the club, and then I brought the club back from the dead, and I was the president, and I take all the pride in doing that. We actually got sponsored by Wizards of the Coast once, and they sent us a bunch of free games, so I like that. But the parasocialism wasn't that bad, or at least I didn't notice it, because I wasn't really on Twitter, I wasn't on like any of the other stuff. And then I got onto Twitter, and I realized, oh, it's bad. You start putting on a persona online, and every weirdo comes out of the cracks, especially for the smaller creators, because they think they don't have the tools to defend themselves. And when you are a smaller creator, you don't realize you can set boundaries and tell them no. You can tell them to stop doing what they're doing, and that's making you uncomfortable. But a lot of smaller streamers, and here's the harsh reality, they're afraid of losing that one viewer because every number counts. It's not worth it. Your mental health is better, I promise. I have anxiety, like I was saying, ADHD, I have mild bipolar, and PTSD. So a lot of things can trigger me all at once or not at all. I'm also autistic because I like bridges. That being said, it's really hard sometimes to let go of a community member. It gives me severe anxiety. What if they go onto Twitter and start blasting me, calling me a piece of garbage? What if they say, accuse me of all these bad things and I have to defend myself? Even if they do that, your community knows you and they'll stand by you. And that has happened once or twice where I've had someone who literally harassed me to the point where they found me on multiple different platforms and just kept following me around until I banned them everywhere. And I was just like, how did you find my DeviantArt account from 2020 that I don't post on anymore? Am I that interesting to you? No, they want the negative attention. They thrive on it. That's the problem with parasocial people. They want you to give them that attention. And they think because you're a VTuber or you're small that you don't care. And that's a lot of problems that bigger VTubers have too. And I'm going to quickly switch into, because we have about 20 minutes-ish left, give or take. So I'm going to switch into my last topic, and then I'll leave it open for Q&A if you guys have any questions at the end for like 5 or 10 minutes. This is my last topic, and one that I wanted to talk about really, really bad. Copycats. The amount of people, and I'm on VTuber Twitter a lot because I work as a social media manager for a company called Loading Crew Crafts. I love them. I've got most of my work done by them. I used to work for them in person. We had a difference of opinion. I no longer work for them in person. I still do their social media. And I love Elena Brana, who is my boss. And we talk every single day. I send her weird pictures of my cat, and she sends me weird pictures of her cat. It's great. If you ever have cat photos, though, I will always take cat photos as payment for anything. I love cats.
Is that all it takes?
Yeah, you could have just sent me cat photos daily.
That's all it took.
It's all it took. But yeah, so, what was I saying? I got sidetracked. God, thank you. See, there's the ADHD. So, I'm not gonna name names, but there are a lot of people who will end up copying, like, bigger VTubers, for example, Shy Lily, and they'll be like, I'm an orca VTuber. Hello person from Squid Games that I've never watched and seen like probably 5 parts of on TikTok because that's what TikTok does. You look awesome, by the way. So they'll copy them and they'll be like, oh, why does everyone compare me to them? Because you look exactly like them. What do you expect? And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this when I post this on YouTube later, and I really don't care.
I'll fight him.
Exactly. Like, you are copying a popular streamer. It's totally fine if you want to be a fish VTuber. I love orcas. They're really, really cool. I'm a fish guy. I used to study fish in college. If you want to be a demon pink mouse VTuber, that's great. But put unique elements into your design. The issue is they copy the design basically word for word, or steal the design from someone who has a whip, and then get it done faster. And a whip is a work in progress, for those who don't know. I didn't know what that meant for the longest time. People said whip, and I just thought, oh, you mean like a bull whip? Like, I'm really confused. But yeah, people would like copy designs all the time, and it was astounding to me, because like, why are you copying it? There's so many things. I have not seen a male a seahorse VTuber yet, and I want to. Because that's so cool. I studied seahorses in college, really, really quick detour, and I love how the men can get pregnant because that's great. And that's really, really cool because I studied dwarf seahorses and helped fund a national park in the Bahamas because that was really cool to me. I love seahorses. They're one of my favorite creatures to study. So weird, and they don't follow the norms of society. But back to the copying, like, people don't realize that also companies won't hire you if you look exactly like Iron Mouse. My design's very unique. I took pride in that design. Obviously, I stole elements off of like here's a reference of what I kind of want it to look like, but can we change it to this? Obviously, you have to start somewhere, and Pinterest is a great way to start, obviously, barring the AI everywhere. But also, I would ask my friends, hey, can I use this aspect of your OC? For example, when we use your horns, like for an example, my character has little deer horns, and I looked at like a million different horn variations before settling on the deer horn, because I really like those the best. But someone else was like, you can't choose goat horns or ram horns, for example. It's copying X, Y, and Z. I'm like, yeah, but I'm choosing an entirely different species of VTuber, I guess you could call it, or species. Species now, I guess. But like, people don't seem to understand that copying looks really, really bad. So, my point is, choose your own unique concepts. It's okay to copy some ideas like orcas or fish or, rams, goats, whatever. I mean, how many other, fae VTubers are there? So many of them. I love being a fae, though. I love being a dragon fae. That's my character. But make it unique. Make it you. And that is how I'm going to end that part of the segment, because that is very important to me. So thank you. So we have a little bit of time left. I ended a little earlier because I rambled. But if you have any questions, please, yes.
Maybe you already mentioned this, but let's say you want to get into VTubing. Mm-hmm. How does one start?
I didn't mention that at all, and I can ramble about that all day, but I'll keep it short. So you can just start with a PNG tuber. That's how I started. I started out with no camera on a 2011 MacBook Pro playing Undertale in 2020. That thing was loud, okay? She booted up and she was like, it got really loud. So I would hold it in front of my air conditioning because it got really hot. Somehow it's you just have to look up. There are a lot of free options too if you want to do 2D. There's the program's called VTube Studio. There's also you can look up PNG Tuber Plus. That's another option because they got rid of something else. It was the other version of PNG Tuber, but they got rid of it. They discontinued, so they weren't updating it to PNG Tuber. But there are a lot of free models. There are also customizable models for male and female VTubers. For example, Suika, I believe her name is, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
It's Suika.
Yeah, she did an amazing model. I'm talking because every freaking hair possible, from colored people to white people, everything, amazing. And there's been some male VTuber models also. They're $100 to buy and they're completely customizable. But there are also free models that exist when you open up VTube Studio, which is a free application except for the DLC, which I recommend you buy. It's only $10. But it's all free and you can just look it up. Honestly, a lot of my stuff was free.
Also, there's Booth. You can get a lot of assets on Booth.
Yes, I've heard about that. I haven't used it, but a lot of times you can also find VTubers who do free assets. If you ever look at my bio, there's a long list of people I've credited. I've gotten my stinger for free. I made my backgrounds and stuff. I commissioned people later. You don't have to spend $1,000 to start your first model. You really don't. You can just start it for free completely. Just look up free VTuber model, and it's there. You will look like every Joe Schmo on the street for the first few months, but that's absolutely okay. You don't have to be completely, you know, unique until you have the money. And that's why I like PNG Tubers, because you also don't have to use PNG Tuber Plus. I don't know if that costs money, because I've never used it, but you can use Discord Reactive Images, sit in a voice call alone, and just have it pop up on your screen, and that's all free, completely free. So, anyone else have questions? Yes?
Yeah, have you ever collaborated with other VTubers, and what was the experience like?
Yeah, I've collaborated with a lot of VTubers. I mentioned it briefly, but I run a VTuber group called Project Tsunami, and the goal of that group was because I hated seeing everyone else getting really crushed and discouraged from joining agencies that ended up collapsing afterwards. And I didn't really touch on that because that's like a legal thing and I can't really talk about that. But I like supporting smaller VTubers and getting them. I've gotten at least 10 other VTubers to affiliate and several to partner on YouTube and Twitch. That's my goal. I don't want to be rich and famous, although who doesn't want to be rich and famous? So I've collaborated with them. I've collaborated with a lot of other VTubers. I ended up just like messaging them on Twitter, like, hey, do you want to play this game with me? I was really just straightforward, because nowadays you get a DM and it goes, hey, and you're like, is that an art bot or a real person? Because that's just Twitter. Please tell me I'm not the only person who gets those weird DMs about sexy men in my area. And I'm like, great, but they're not real. I want them to be fictional. So basically, I've had some great experiences, and I've had some weird experiences. I did a talk show, which was actually, the name of it was VTubers versus Reality. I wanted to talk to other VTubers about their experiences, what they did for a job, and why they became a VTuber in the first place, because everyone has different reasons. And some of those didn't go too well, and I had to remove them because they kept ranting about really negative things. And as a talk show host for the first time, I didn't know how to stop them, because that got really awkward really fast, especially with like some negative topics. There have been some unfortunate negative moments. Other times where I got really overstimulated being an autistic person, where someone had a really bad microphone, we couldn't figure out why, and it was just, hello, like really loud, and it was like, she was eating her microphone and didn't realize it, basically. And how do you tell someone, hey, you sound like crap? You really don't. You can make funny clips about it afterwards. There are plenty of them on my TikTok of that specific scenario. But sometimes you also get forced into collabs that you really don't want to do either. Like if you're streaming with someone and they invite someone else in, and you're just like, I don't want to collab with this person, I just want to talk to you. I have a really good friend, Rainerfalls, who's been friends with me for 5 years now. It's pretty much probably feels really old. And we stream all the time, and sometimes their friends come to the chat and say, hey, can I play? And then they'll go to me, hey, Rainer, do you want them to join? Because they know sometimes, I don't want them to. And they'll be really courteous, and I say sometimes, no, I'm sorry, but I'm being selfish and I want Jewel all myself tonight. So that's another thing about boundary setting, is it's very important to set those boundaries when collabing. It's also good to, I recommend if you do stream or want to collab with people, have a quick pre-call, like on Discord. Like, hey, can we set some boundaries? I just want to talk about it. And if they say no, don't collab with them because they're not a good person. That's my one pet peeve. Any other questions? Are you? Yes.
Yeah. So when you're starting out as a VTuber, how important it is to have a debut stream?
Ah, debuts, yes, debuts. Everyone talks about the debuts.
That's actually a really good question.
It is a really... So, honestly, I didn't debut. I just started streaming one day. But I'm a different case because I did it during COVID, so it was a really weird time and everyone was online, so you kind of got more viewership. And then once everyone started going back to work, that viewership kind of petered out, obviously, because everyone's like now working 9 to 5s. Single mom who works 2 jobs. Yeah. I'm really busy all the time, so I work 2 jobs actually now, and that second job is ending for the season. It's not that important, honestly. You don't have to have a debut. I actually had my first debut on April 8th, 2023, I believe it was, and that was when I debuted my 2D model. I showed up on screen, slowly raised my character, and went, hi guys, now we're gonna go play video games for 7 hours straight. It was nothing ceremonious. I didn't have a lore video. I've actually been working on a lore video for 5 years with my friends. We actually just finished the music, and the reason why is it's expensive. I had to commission an artist. My friend was the artist, and she took her time because she was also traveling, and she also just needed time, and I also did not have $250 for each art piece because it's expensive because it was animated. The whole thing isn't animated. You don't have to have a fancy lore video. You don't have to have a fancy camera. You don't have to have a fancy model. You don't have to spend a dime unless you're counting the computer itself. Just open your stream and say, hi, this is me. Now, a debut will get you more views. It'll get you more people because debuts tend to attract more people, like especially on social media. And if you do those, like, if you guys have seen, I don't know if you have, because I'm currently online, unfortunately, for my job as a social media manager on occasion. They have those little reveal things where, like, if you like and retweet the person's model, they'll reveal more and more of the model. That's a great way to get it. Even if it's just a PNG tuber, some people will just commission the art and not the actual cutting and rigging, because that's more expensive. They'll have that, and that'll get you the views that you need. You don't have to have a debut, but it does help But if you plan your streams accordingly and just be yourself, you'll eventually get the audience you want. But it is still, I'm gonna say this now, it's gonna sound harsh, not everyone is meant to be a streamer, not everyone's meant to be a content creator, and not everyone's gonna get famous overnight. It's luck. It really is. I've been doing this for 5 years, and some of my videos barely hit 10 views on YouTube, and I have 10,000 subscribers. I don't know where they came from. I just had some videos blow up one day. They never came back. They probably just forgot about it, and that's what happens. That's the reality of it. Any other questions? I have 15. I can still talk, that means. You guys are stuck with me for 15 whole minutes. I guess I'll talk about my debut then, because that was a great question. So honestly, my first debut was I played Undertale. I didn't know that if you muted Discord, it didn't mute your OBS. So I had a full-on phone call with someone. I was pretty emotional, and everyone heard it. It was really awkward. Everyone makes mistakes while streaming. My streams are scuffed throughout the rest of my days. The amount of times where my, I'm gonna call you out, Delia. I know you're probably in chat. Delia is my editor. I love her. She's British. So that makes everything funnier because I get to go blah blah blah, and she gets really annoyed at me. That was a really poor British accent. If anyone else is British in chat, I'm not sorry. I lock her in my basement so that she can make videos for me because I like videos. And she deals with that. Thank you guys so much for coming. You guys are amazing, by the way. Now I can say that because it isn't awkward, and I can talk to people and be like, "Thanks for coming. You guys are really cool." Like I expected one person to show up, and I was gonna be here talking to myself for an hour.
Yourself if I'm actually here.
Yeah, I just was like, this is great. People actually showed up because they're interested in what I have to say. Because VTubing is such a thing that people don't want to talk about because it's taboo. It's not though, and I really like talking about it because there's so many hidden aspects to VTubing. My debut was very silly. Like I said, I just kind of dragged my model on screen. I'm pretty sure the debut is somewhere on my YouTube vlog channel or on my YouTube channel. It was very lame. It was on my birthday, April 8th, by the way. And I was like, hi guys, this is my really cool model. I'm really excited for it. And then I went and played games for about 5 hours. And then I'm like, Chad, I'm bored and I'm really tired. I'm gonna go to bed. And then I slept. But for the first like half an hour before my debut, I was freaking. I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna go so badly. My PC's gonna explode or something. Because I had just bought that PC and I saved up and I worked like 60-hour weeks. Really, but like grinding my hands down as I was a dishwasher in college. I also worked like a million other jobs in college because money was tight for me. I had to pay my way through college. So when I had that extra $1,000, my friend Katie, I love you Katie, if you ever see this, she was the only other trans person on campus. I loved her to death. She helped me build my PC, buy my PC, my very first PC, which I still have, which is now on its way out, and I'm slowly being able to afford a new one, only because I work. And so I was like, oh my god, it's gonna explode. I might have like jolted something, because I carried it from the tech help desk to my dorm, because I didn't have a car. I was a broke college student, so I'm carrying this like 70-pound PC, you know, walking around with this box. I still have the box. Pro tip, if you ever buy a PC, keep the box the case comes in. That thing is goated for transport to get across the country and you decide to move to Ohio randomly like I did. That was for a job, by the way. Also, I guess I want to talk about con appearances. I've done 2 con appearances. This is my first panel, but I did a con appearance, and I mentioned it earlier with the Top Chef Coffee. They have some really good coffee. I don't like coffee typically, but I like their coffee. It's really good. You can use code Rainerfalls in that checkout for 5% off. I had to, the bit was right there. They had these really cool screens, and basically it was a nice big screen for VTubers, and this was like the first time they ever had VTubers in a convention. I was like, can I join? They're like, yeah, we don't care about your size, we don't care. And I was like, okay, cool. I took the last slot. Nobody was there besides one guy cosplaying Albedo, and I loved him. He was the nicest guy ever. He asked me a million questions, and he's like, I don't want to take up more time. I'm like, nobody's waiting. Please keep talking to me. I was very nice to him. But that's the reality of smaller streamers like myself. You don't get any notice. For the first time I vended at my first convention alone, besides the Floating Crew Crafts, which they have different merchandise. Their merchandise, they've been doing this for over 10 years. They're very well known. If you guys seen the Shadow Milk Cookie body pillow, I was the problem that caused that. I commissioned that. That was me. They're the company that sells that. I love Floating Crew Crafts. They're really cool. But basically, when I started my own, I was at an anime tattoo convention. It wasn't exactly the best place to start selling things, not gonna lie, for a VTuber group, because it's supposed to be anime and tattoo, but 99% of it was tattoo. I got my first 2 tattoos there, by the way. One of my VTuber members of my group project, Tsunami Junriel, does tattoos. I love her work. I'll show it off. Is this really cool? moon thing. I have one on my ankle too, and I don't want to take off my socks house candles, but it's a little sleepy dragon.
For free?
For free? No, feet pictures cost extra. I'll talk about that in a second. Actually, someone did pay me for feet pictures, by the way. That was a really interesting experience. I've never thought I would snoop so low, but I really needed $100. And he was like, here you go. And I'm like, cool. Here's my ugly feet. He was like, I'm not going to use this for anything weird. I just wanted to give you money. You didn't actually have to send me feet pictures. I was like, I love you. I'm going to call you out in a bush. That was you. I know exactly who you are. Someone also sent me $600 once because they wanted a body pillow made of my Vtuber, which now exists, and I have several copies of in my room. They're going to be for sale soon, by the way. Loading Crew Crafts designed and drew it, and now I have the opportunity to sell it. And we have little mini ones that are about this big, which are really cute. But speaking of like merch and stuff, that convention I made $100. I was very, very lucky that I didn't have to pay for the table because the people paying for the table were obviously the people doing the tattooing. But it was not a good convention for me because I'm so used to having all this other merch to sell. I'm a very outgoing guy. I'm like, come here, buy my stuff. You know you want to. You know, or like, I see you craning your neck because we had a very big display with like 8-foot tall grid wall and these big, if you ever look at Loading Crew Crafts on like Instagram or whatever, you'll see their setup is massive. That takes like 7 hours to put up and take down. It's a massive setup. I had so much to work with because we had things from Hazbin Hotel, we had things from Cookie Run, we had things from My Hero, like so many other animes and things, right? I had like 5 buttons and 5 stickers and like 5 other things, small artist things, you know? But making $80 was huge. People don't seem to realize that your table is probably going to cost you $500, so you need to make more money. So that's a big thing with smaller VTubers. You don't sell a lot of merchandise. And for a VTuber who's an indie, or the indie versus corporate, if you don't know, an indie is someone who's an independent. They don't have a corporate to back them up. Versus someone who is a corporate streamer, someone who was in like HoloLive. That those people, they have this whole people behind them. They've got editors, they've got all, they don't have to pay for it. It comes out of their paycheck, and that's it. I have to pay for everything. I gotta pay my editor this month anyways. Tariffs and fees make it really annoying to do so because they live in England. Can you move to America, please? I don't want to pay that fee no more. It's like an extra $70 each time, guys. PayPal is bad. But like, we had to pay for our own merch. I had to buy my own merch, so it was like $300 out of pocket. So like, all that stuff ends up costing a lot of money. So when you ever want to like start your own convention booth, just realize it's gonna cost a lot of money. One thing I want to talk about now is my cat. Her name is Marcy. She annoys me. She likes to bite toes, so be aware if you ever go to my bedroom, which none of you ever will, because that's just weird to say. She will come into you and just bite your toes and swat at you because she thinks it's funny. She was a semi-feral barn cat from upstate New York that I saved because they were going to kill her because no one wanted her. And I was like, nope, she's mine now. I illegally smuggled her into my dorm room as a resident assistant. If you don't know what that is, it's like you're in charge of your whole floor. I broke so many rules doing that. Nobody caught me. Why? Because I was the goody two-shoes on campus.
Aww.
I basically made...
You know.
The ones that can get away with anything.
Exactly. I made best friends with the head of accessibility because I had an IEP in school, and so basically she fast-tracked my application because I had an ESA bearded dragon named Toothless. I unfortunately had to give her up because she had lung issues, and she had to go to Arizona because she could not handle the humidity of New York, which sucked. But she's doing great now. She's really big, and I got a picture of her. I was like, hi! But yeah, Marcy, she was illegally in my dorm room, and someone kept saying, I hear cat noises from your room. No, there's no cat in there. I promise, she's not screaming. She's very clingy, so when I leave for work, she'll sit at the top of the stairs, because I live in the basement, and she screams. Guttural human screams. Like, you think there's a human down there. When I lived in my apartment for a little bit, the cops were called at least twice because they thought I was holding a human captive. I promise you I'm not, except for my editor who's in my basement for legal reasons. That's a joke. I have about 5 minutes left, so this is the last chance for any questions if you think. I promise I won't. You can ask a silly question like, what's my favorite part? Yes.
What's the weirdest thing that has ever happened to you?
VTubing or just in general, or both?
Both.
Okay, so I worked with the FBI. That was the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. I was a police role player at the Rainerfalls Falls Police Academy in New York. I no longer live near there, so don't think you can stalk me. But basically, I got $20 an hour to play dead on the floor. One day they were like, yeah, we're switching you from SWAT to FBI. I'm like, don't I need clearance for this? Well, you're trusting me, the gayest man in the room. Like, I was the gay twink in the room. to work with the FBI. They're like, you're the only one who can voice act. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, we need you to get on a phone and pretend to have children hostage and blow up a bus. I ended up blowing that bus up because they said the trigger word. But it was a really fun experience, and so if anyone wants to hire me to do voice acting, I'm really good at blowing things up. Now, on stream, the weirdest thing that ever happened to me, actually it was really, really weird. My Twitch glitched out, and it said I was point girl for like 3 days straight. It was not on my end, it was on multiple people's end. Because back when Twitch had this thing called hosting, they got rid of it, I think it was almost 2 years ago now. When you rated somebody, if you ever like pull up the pages like a trailer typically, if you rated somebody, it would have this thing where you can like host them and like help smaller streamers grow. And I rated Point Crow one time, because I really liked Point Crow at the time. His content was fun to me. Yeah, Twitch glitched out because I think that was right as they were supposed to cancel hosting. So as it went down, I rated Point Crow, so the thing thought I was Point Crow for 3 days straight. So I was like, I guess I'm Point Crow now. So I couldn't go live, nothing was working, my stream key was broken. I contacted support, nobody answered me. I ended up having, because I was in his server and I was quite active in Reddit, having to contact his, hey, so this is messed up. I think I have his stream key, he needs to change it now. And that was the end of it. I don't think it actually was like the stream key, it was just my Twitch fucked up. But yeah, basically, that was the weirdest thing that ever happened to me, weirdest glitch, and I was Point Crow for 3 days. And he probably doesn't know who I am or remember that because it was like 4 years ago, but still, weirdest glitch I've ever had happen. We have 3 minutes left, so I'm just gonna take 2 or 3 more questions if anyone has any. No? Yes, maybe. Yes?
Do you have a particular niche of games you like to play for 7 hours straight?
Depends on my hyperfixation for that week.
Undertale.
No, actually, I actually didn't want to play Delta Ruin. I just lost interest because everyone spoiled it on Twitter. Stop spoiling games. It's been 12 hours. That's my pet peeve. Currently, right now, it's Genshin because of Lunar 1 that came out. And delicious. I love my... Flins is my wife. Flins is my wife. Originally, I wasn't going to pull for him, but then I ended up pulling and caving. Yes?
Where can we follow you?
I mentioned it a couple of times. My username is Rainerfalls. That's Rain, E-R, Falls, F-A-L-L-S. Call me everywhere. Except for Instagram, there's one account that has 2 S's. That's not me. It's an imposter I can't get rid of. I've reported it several times. Had several people report it.
you?
Let me look. I'm blind. Hang on.
They're live, yes.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
That is me, yes. That's my beautiful... OMG, that's my boy. Hi, mother! Sorry, I'm reading chat as they came in. Basically, yeah, so, what was the question? I also like to play Dead by Daylight, although with the state of the game being as broken as it is, unfortunately, I've just been very depressed and not playing it. The devs themselves also, as someone who is a killer, and I'm gonna say right now, I slug people. It's fun. I like knocking them down and making them squirm on the ground and think I'm gonna save them. No. Die. The devs literally said in a live stream that they don't like that type of culture and they just want to ban it from the community. And I was just like, that makes me feel like crap because I sometimes need to slug. That's just how the game is. That's a mechanic that exists in the game, and you're making it incredibly survivor-sided. As a survivor main, I'm saying it's survivor-sided because I basically am, yeah. I also play Honkai Star Rail. I love Honkai Star Rail. And then I've gotten most of my community addicted to Cookie Run Kingdom. It's a problem. I've spent probably at least $500 on merchandise in the last year alone, including the TCG cards, which have just got localized to the United States. I need more of them. They are localizing the Shadow Milk pack soon, and I need it. It's like $100, and I'm totally gonna spend it on my next paycheck. But yeah, basically, I guess the last game out, I like playing games like Power Wash Simulator, because I can sit there for hours on end and clean things, and they just came out with Push 2. I call it Push, by the way. That or like, House Flipper was my hyperfixation for about a straight month. But yeah, thank you so much for all the follows. I really appreciate you all. You guys, this was an amazing panel. This is the first time I've ever done a panel, so it was really fun to talk about my experiences. So thank you so much. I think there's another panel in here afterwards. There might be.
That would be me.
Yay! So if you
That would
guys
be
want
them.
to stay, there's a really cool person behind me. I'm gonna be walking around if you want to ask me any questions, but definitely check out this amazing gentleman's panel. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you all. All right, chat. I'm gonna leave you now. Goodbye. You get a nose.